Basement level vibes with another one, straight up blackness. Aye, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Benskop stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk. Boom, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit.
Zanko boy, police are come. Zanko boy, you better run. Zanko boy, policeman are come.
Zanko licky love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Zanko licky love up on the dam and the gala holla murder.
Police are come and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Zanko kissy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Zanko kissy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Zanko boy, you better run. Zanko boy, police are come. Zanko boy, you better run. Zanko boy, policeman are come.
Zanko chasey love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Zanko chasey love up on the dam and the gala holla murder.
Police are come and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Zanko catchy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Zanko catchy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Zanko boy, you better run. Zanko boy, police are come. Zanko boy, you better run. Zanko boy, policeman are come.
Zanko licky love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Zanko licky love up on the dam and the gala holla murder.
Police are come and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Zanko kissy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Zanko kissy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Zanko boy, you better run. Zanko boy, police are come. Zanko boy, you better run.
Hey fans, it's karaoke and oldies night this and every Thursday at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton. Dance to the magical songs of yesteryear by popular DJs and Camps Audio. Admission is free. Come out, let's make memories at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton North.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
All right. Hey, guess what? Good night. We're live. This is straight up on 107.1 FM. How are you doing? Let's get straight down to business. The usual thing in Guyana, blackouts upon blackouts. And for those of you who don't know what we mean by blackouts, electricity failure every single day. Every single day in oil rich Guyana. And Guyana, for some of you who don't know what Guyana means, because at times you speak with people who are not from Guyana, you tell them the correct pronunciation is Guyana. You say, oh, you mean you're from Guyana? Guyana. Oh, you mean you're from Guyana? Guyana, right? All right, it's Guyana, and good night to all of you. Thank you so much for sharing the link. I have a special guest on tonight. That guest, I guess none of you would be able to say who that guest is, but that individual is going to be on in just about 5 minutes or so. But before we do, let me just say good night to all of you, beautiful people, wherever you are, whether you're in Guyana, whether you're out of Guyana, whether you're in Barbados, wherever you are, good night. And the folks out in the UK, some people complain from the UK that we do not say hello to them. We do say hello to everyone. Everyone we say hello to. We just do not leave anyone out. And so if you are in the UK right now and you feel as though you've been left out, let me just apologize for that. We don't believe in leaving people out. We do not believe in discrimination. Unlike the corrupt government of Guyana, unlike that apartheid regime in Guyana, we here on 107.1 FM, we do not believe in that. Again, good night to all of you. What's bothering you this evening as we prepare, as we warm up before we get our guest on tonight? And then the fireworks are going to start. The post-July 4th fireworks will start right here on 107.1 FM. Looking at some of your comments, I'm really afraid to call some of your names because others feel left out. So I'm not going to be calling names tonight at all. But let me say hi to Yanet Elias and hello to William Bill Cato and Ann John and the others. And who get vexed tonight, then I can't help you, right? Lachman Aziz, good night to you. Cheryl Ann Haywood and all of you. Annette Cummings. We don't see Annette Ferguson on this program anymore, right? The bumps raise and they just disappear. Can you tell me that? The bumps raise and they disappear. Where is Annette Ferguson? She doesn't say hi to us any longer. Vanette Seymour, tell us what's happening. They just ran away from the show just like that. All right, so here is what Annette Ferguson is here. She said, hello, MB. Annette Ferguson, the Honorable Member of Parliament, you're due to come on this show to talk to the people, to tell the people what you've been up to recently. We want to hear a lot about housing also. You are the shadow minister of housing. What's happening with the people out there in Sarah Johanna. What's going on with the people? We want to see you guys on the ground. Miss Annette Ferguson, tell us what's going on. I'd love to have you on tomorrow night, right here, to tell us what's happening. Please, we want to hear what's happening, Miss Annette Ferguson. We want to know. Annette Ferguson, the Member of Parliament, is saying, when you're ready, I will avail myself. When you're ready, I will avail myself. That is what the Honorable Member of Parliament, Annette Ferguson, who is also the Shadow Minister of Housing. And now, if I were to call Miss Ferguson right now, for an audio chat, it's going to last for 2 minutes. It's not going to be on video, so you don't have to rush off and whatever. It's going to be an audio. Let me see if she's going to answer this call. I want to test something out. That's all. And we know that she's watching. How many of you guys think that she's going to answer the call? Let's see whether she's going to answer the call or not. Miss Annette Ferguson. Let us go. The phone is ringing. It's ringing. We're not going on video. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay, guess what? She answered the call, guys. She's answered the call. And I want, there's a reason why. And good night to you. You've got to be on. We need to hear from you.
Oh, yeah. Good evening. I will. I'll prepare myself for tomorrow night to appear on your program. Once you reach out to me and you request of my presence to appear on Mark Bench Cup 107.1 FM, I don't back down.
No, you certainly don't back down at all. We will have you on tomorrow night. But just a quick question. Give us a quick update on what's happening with the people out there in Sarah Johanna.
Well, to be honest with you, Mark, since the situation occurred, I haven't visited physically on the ground. I intend to do so tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. You haven't visited on the ground. But you've been keeping in contact with some people there on the ground, though, haven't you?
Yes, I know my colleague Nima Flubes, who has responsibility for the East Bank corridor. I did reach out to her to get a sense as to what is happening in the area there, because I know for a fact that she has been on the ground working with the people. And what I sense from the situation on the ground is that the land apparently appears to be that of private property. But what I have done so far, and I guess before the end of this week, I will have an article, an editorial on the situation there in Sarah Johanna published, because I believe, despite whether it's a privately owned land, I mean, there are ways and means, procedures that one must follow to have persons relocate. You just can't show up and displace people like as though they're not human beings. I think the situation could have been handled differently once it got the government, whether the Ministry of Housing or the Ministry of Human Services involved, so that at least we can find appropriate or alternative accommodation for these people. Look where they're at the moment, probably located on some land with a tent. I mean, that's how we want to treat our citizens in this 21st century in oil Guyana. This is wrong, Mark.
Oh,
it
no.
is totally wrong.
Yeah, we'll have you on tomorrow night. We'll talk about that and more. Please be prepared. I hope you have your generator. You should be able to have a generator. And I'll give you some time to finish up your article that you're writing about the situation there in Sarah Johanna. I'm also looking forward to reading that editorial. Where's the editorial going to be? In the Chronicle?
Well, no, Mark. Chronicle don't usually carry my editorial.
I forgot for a moment. They just don't at all. But looking forward to read.
Skyshore News and Stabrook News. They do carry all my editorials.
You mean all of your letters to the editor?
Well, my letters. Well, a lot of letters to the editor.
Yeah, the letters to the editor is quite different from an editorial, but that's okay. We're not here to think. But we're looking forward to seeing you, having you on tomorrow night, right here on 107.1 FM. But just to remind you that your portfolio, of course, is that of Shadow Minister of Housing.
Yes, Mark, yeah. I'm fully aware of that, my brother.
Just thought I remember. And then the situation there in Sarah Johanna has to do with housing and land and so forth, which falls in your right there on your lap, right, so to speak.
You want me to speak? I think I've already spoken, and I think you said we're going to continue this conversation.
We will continue. I'm just saying that's your portfolio. Nima Flu-Best, who's been there on the ground, her portfolio is that of sports. But
yes,
okay. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Thank you so much, though, for your time.
Good. Thank you very much, and good night to your viewers and listeners. Bye-bye. God bless.
Honorable Member of Parliament, whose portfolio is that of Minister of Housing, Shadow Minister of Housing. By tomorrow night, she will be right here on 107.1 FM. And hopefully by then she will get some extra time to pay some visit to the people there at the Sarah Johanna who have been displaced as a result of some corrupt individuals who are connected to the PPP regime. When you want to do something, you just don't go and bulldoze and brock down, as we would say in Guyana, people's houses and all manner of things. And you just can't operate like that. There's a process. And we have to ensure that the process works. Again, let the process work. The process has got to work. All right, level vibes, indeed. Politics, too much politics. Let's remind the people as we prepare, hopefully, to have our next, our guest on for the night. I want to remind you guys about this here. Let's not forget about it at all, because Irfan Ali spoke about Congress Place and their Congress last weekend, and he's talking about what allegedly took place and the perception and so forth. But he's not talking about his party. He's not talking about the corruption. He's not talking about the racism. He's not talking about the billions of dollars wasted going into the pockets of his probably his friends, his cronies, probably family members. We don't know, probably his own pockets as well. Lots of things, lots of corruption. He needs to talk about that. But we also need to remind the people of the country about these things. We'll be right back.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, he is a friend of ours.
You heard that right. Su is the guy who accused Barra Jagdeo of taking bribes. This is the guy, Su, who has accused Bharat Jagdeo of taking bribe. Nothing has become of this situation. No investigations, nothing at all. But these are the Bariats. These are the Katahars who want to talk about corruption. Let's go back to Su and that interview conducted by the Vice News reporter, who is now at CNN, Isabella.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, he is a friend of ours.
No investigations, nothing at all. This is where the opposition should have been pushing for an investigation. Private lawyers should have been out there calling for an investigation. The private sector of Guyana should be calling for an investigation. But the private sector members of the private sector commission, they're not going to be calling for an investigation because they're all part of a corrupt cabal. That is what they do. If they can get their contracts or hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars, they're comfortable with that. And so they're not concerned about anything else. But you let something happen to one of those guys in the opposition. We're going to be hearing from the private sector commission, those bloodsuckers at the private sector commission. We're going to be hearing from those Katahars from the Guyana Barbecue Association. We do not hear anything from them when it comes to holding the corrupt PPP regime accountable. They are quiet on every issue, extremely quiet. But we're not surprised about that. We know why they are quiet, because the corruption is not just confined in the hallways of the office of the president or State House or Freedom House or Jack Deer's house. It's spread all across, including some members of the private sector commission, some members of the judiciary, some members of the Guyana Police Force, some members of the Guyana Defense Force, some members of the Guyana Prison Service, and lots, if not all, of the ministers, all of them, and permanent secretaries as well.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of ours.
And after that, we've heard nothing else. But Su continues to do business in Guyana. Su continues to make millions upon millions of dollars right there in Guyana, and they're all quiet about it. Su is right there. You can recognize Su. Of course we can recognize Su. And the question is, Barrett Jagdeo admitted that Su is a friend. He has been a friend. Su said that he has been doing business with Jagdeo. I spoke with Su. Su said, yes, he was renting the property that's owned by Barrett Jagdeo in Barrett Jagdeo's Ville, Pradoville 2. All of these things have been established. But the guys at SOCU wouldn't do that, which is the Special Organized Crime Unit. They're not going to go after Barrett Jagdeo to investigate Barrett Jagdeo. And this is a guy who loves to talk about conflict of interest. There are lots and lots of evidence when as it pertains to conflict of interest. Barrett Jagdeo is the biggest, or one of the biggest, individual who is involved with a bunch of businesses, we are told, mind you, and that by itself is conflict of interest. We are told that Barrett Jagdeo owns a lot of properties and hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of acreage of lands across Guyana. We are told that Barrett Jagdeo has a hefty bank account in China and other parts of the world. That is what we are told. And therefore, Barrett Jagdeo has no moral authority to speak on corruption, issues of corruption. Who would believe Barrett Jagdeo when he sits at his press conference and lies about almost every single thing? Who would believe that Barrett Jagdeo believes in the people of Guyana? Who would believe that Barrett Jagdeo and Irfan Ali want the best for Guyanese? It's a lie. And if any one of you believe that, then something is wrong with you guys. Lots and lots of examples in terms of failure by the PPP regime, by Barrett Jagdeo, and by Irfan Ali. Let's remind the people about the Skeldon Sugar Factory. Wasted $200 million, but most of that, if not all of that money, gone into the pockets of the friends and cronies of Barrett Jagdeo. Billions of dollars, hundreds of millions, probably over close to $2 billion wasted on the fiber optic cable that we saw the the sidewalks and the sideway of the Linden Soosdike Highway damaged as a result of Barrett Jagde's negligence, his greed. Right there on the Linden Soosdike Highway, where they were running the cable, cable from Brazil, wherever he wanted to ram it, where it was going to end. But your tax-paying dollars, close to $2 billion wasted. Nothing at all. And then the Amila Falls project. He wants to talk about conflict of interest. He should talk about his connection with those guys and the contractors and the person who got the contract, Phip Motilal, and himself. He got to talk about these things. Every single thing that these guys touch, every single thing that they touch, Barrett Jagdeo and Irfan Ali, turns out to be a failure. Quite the opposite of the Midas touch, because the Midas touch, everything turns to gold, but not with Barrett Jagdeo. Everything that he touches turned into a mess. Everything, including some of those people that we see who are resigning, the permanent secretary, the one who was sanctioned, and then there's another one, Romel Rupnarayan's wife. We're told that she resigned, but we're not seeing anything in the news about that, whether she has resigned or not. We are hearing that she has resigned. She has resigned. And so they got to come straight out and say why. First of all, they haven't put out a press release to say that the rumor that the permanent secretary, the Ministry of Social Services, has resigned. They're not going to come out and say, yes, she has. They're not going to say why she has resigned. We're assuming now that she has resigned. They're not going to say why. But we are told that lots and lots of pension books and fake pension books and all these different things, lots of these things have gone missing, or monies and all these things, allegations, mind you, lots and lots of these things. So they got to come out and they got to say why. The corruption is rampant. It's like a wood ant's nest. You guys who know about wood ant's nest, you've gone to the back dam, you've gone to your backyard, you see how wood ant's nest eats away at your post of your house if you don't take proper care of it, or on a tree or something like that. That is the current regime in Guyana. The wood ants is eating out. The corruption is rampant. All sorts of deals. People who used to pull donkey cart, they didn't have a donkey, but they had a cart, but they used to pull the donkey cart on the quarantine. They get contracts upon contracts, them related to this Ali, this Wahahali, this Isahali, this Dihihali, the Hali, this do, this, that, all sorts of things. And minister giving members, and all of these things we're hearing. Also, the talk around quarantine is that the Minister of Agriculture, Zulfikar Mustafa, lots and lots, and if Zulfikar Mustafa is watching right now, they got to know that corruption is rampant. And not only that corruption is rampant, his name is being called in every single scheme we're hearing on the quarantine. His name is being called, whether it is chicken, whether it's giving contract to friends and family members, and all these things. It's happening right there, but no investigations. These are the people in the PPP, Irfan Ali and Barrett Jagdeo and them. They love to sit at their press conferences and throw tantrums and all manner of things to make it look as though they are such angels. They do nothing wrong, when in fact, according to the man and woman out there, the smallest child in the streets, is that these folks are corrupt at every level, every single level. Again, if you're now joining, good night and welcome to Straight Up. And speaking of the Minister of Agriculture, Zulfikar Mustafa, he has got to come out to say, one, whether his U.S. visa, whether, I'm not saying that it has, he has to come out and say that to you guys, whether his U.S. visa was revoked, whether his son's US visa was revoked as part of the sanction, US sanction recently. We heard of the Mohammeds being sanctioned and all these things. And we know that the Mohammeds, they weren't, their visas were revoked a while now. A while now, their visas were revoked by the US State Department. But we're hearing that the Minister of Agriculture, mind you, I'm saying we're hearing that. We're not saying that that's a fact. Let the Minister of Agriculture come to you guys and tell you whether it's a fact or not. We're hearing that his son was dragged into that net as well because his son allegations of connection with certain individuals who were sanctioned and all manner of things. And that is what is happening in the country. That is what's going on. And so the PPP, they have no moral authority to come and talk about, what's going on in Congress, please, and Congress, please. And speaking of that now, let's go to the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture. These are the people who like to behave as though they're well-cultured and that they know and they have your best interest at heart. They don't. They just don't have your best interest. They just don't. We have sufficient evidence of that. And so they might go around a couple places around Georgetown, around Demerara. They might go in Boxer and grab a couple of people, them who they can control and who they want to control Buxton. And those people can't control Buxton, mind you. And then they go to Agricola, and then they get a couple of people in Agricola and thinking that those people that they have in Agricola could control Agricola. Those people can't control Agricola. And then what they do, they buy them a couple of footballs and they buy them a couple of the soccer ball and then some cricket bats and so forth and dash it and give them. And they go and put some zinc sheet on some community centers and they make it appear that they care. When in fact, they just don't care about you, the people. How many of you guys know where Leeds Village is? Let me test your knowledge on Guyana. How many of you guys know where Leeds Village is? Whether it's in Linden, wherever it is. Tell me. Where is Leeds Village? Where is Leeds Village? Where exactly is Leeds Village? Tell me. If you tell me where Leeds Village is, then you win a prize. Somebody said Berbice. Cyril Walker says number 51, quarantine. Never trust son of man, King James. Can't remember. Rhonda Lane says East Berbice. Ray Andres says 51 Village. You guys know your thing. You know Guyana. How many of you guys know Leeds Community Center? Leeds Community Center. Eldon Keldon Harvey, thank you. You know what's going on. Leon Jameson Surian, sorry. He's watching. All of you guys are watching. Leon was earlier complaining that people calling me fat by and eating food and free food. Don't hurt them, Leon. Don't hurt them. But do us a favor. Please don't come and advertise that you go in Brooklyn and eat sauce and them kind of things. We don't allow you to slip by with that one. But I see what you try to do there. People in Brooklyn are not going to that village, that place to support that business. So let us remain on the nice track, please, Leon. Don't come and push in an advertisement there at all. But good night. It's good that you guys are watching. Conrad August, the guy you guys got to be careful. He's watching. Martin Mickle, how are you doing, sir? Colin Bino, it says number 53. Is Leeds Village number 53 or number 51? Lita Basdiev says 51. The only person who is saying 53, number 53 Village, is Colin Bino. Good night to the folks at Kildonan, the folks at Nerney and Limlair, Bushlat and Farm, and then Kilmarnock, and then Philippi, and then Cromarty, and then, forget, there's Maida as well. Everyone is saying 50, 51, 51. So how many of you guys know the community center? I'll give you 30 seconds. How many of you know the community center at Leeds Village? We'll be right back. Let us see how many of you know the community center.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Sujurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of ours.
Wow, he's a friend of them. He is a friend. A friend indeed is a friend, or what is it? A friend in need is a friend indeed? Is that what it is? Let's try to see if we get our guest, guys. Give me another minute.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Sujurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of ours. There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Sujurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of ours.
You said valid votes counts. Votes cast must more votes cast must mean valid votes. Sorry. And
how old are you?
I am 28, sir.
And where do you live?
In Kitty.
You own your own home?
Not as yet.
Apply for a house lot?
Not yet.
Well, sit down. You're not participating on the enhancement of your own life. At 28 years, you should be making better life decisions. Think about it. Thank you. Bye.
These guys are silly. I repeat, they do not have the best interest of Guyanese at heart. They just don't. Let me say goodnight to the folks out in Queens, Liberty and Liberty Avenue to be exact. Good night to all of you. Someone sent a photo as we started earlier. Let me show you what folks usually do. This is what they do. Every night, this is what they do. They sit on the big screen TV that they got from courts and they watch, well, maybe some other place, not necessarily courts. So good night to the folks who are sending these photographs. Good night to all of you. And this person is all the way under quarantine. Leeds Village on the quarantine. Good night to you and your entire family on the quarantine. That's what they do. They watch us right here on big screen television. Now let's get back to the fact that these folks in the PPP regime, they do not care about young people. They just do not care about young people. Let's get now to Leeds Community Center. And I remember the community center. It was beautiful, beautiful. 12 years ago, we were there at the Benchop, with the Benchop Foundation. We gave computer courses and some other stuff right there at that very community center, Leeds Village. Leeds Village, with the help of a popular lady who has contributed tremendously in that village, Dorothy Dorset, Miss Dorothy Dorset, and others. And these are the young people 12 years ago. They're now adults, probably working. Maybe they're not working. Maybe they're out of the country. But if they are in Guyana right now, I'm sure that they're looking for work. But we did some computer courses and some other stuff free right there. This was 12 years ago, right there at Leeds Village. Now you want to take a walk at that Leeds Village and check the community center out? Let us go. Take a walk. That's the community center. That is what it's about. You take a look. That is what's happening there now. And then ask the Minister of Youth, Sports, and Culture. Ask him what's happening to the people in that village. And why is it that this is a community center at Leeds Village on the quarantine, guys. On the quarantine where lots and lots of young people are. But yet this corrupt regime, they get billions and billions of dollars of oil wealth, and this is what is happening at Leeds Village on the quarantine. I noticed some of you hollering out, Jesus Christ. Oh, gosh. OMG. I don't know what OMG means, but maybe somebody can tell me. Oh, my G. This is it. This is what's going on right now at that community center, surrounding that community center. So the kids got to access that ground. They got to go through there. It's like a forest. And this photograph was taken over 12 years ago when I was addressing these young people there at that very community center. Well kept by members of the community, not the corrupt regime back then 12 years ago. But look at it. Take a look at it right now. Forest. Look at it right now. Look at the fence. It's all. You know, I'm looking at some of your comments. We're not making these things up, guys, because they love to say that we on social media, we talk show hosts, we love to spread propaganda. They say we love to spread propaganda, right? If we love to spread propaganda, I'm not going to ask Jack there what he loves to spread. I'm not going to ask him. It's none of my business. But they're quick to jump. They're quick to say, who love to spread propaganda? So that's what's happening. You ask them what's going on. You ask them what's going on. I've noticed the Honorable Member of Parliament, who also is the Shadow Minister of Sports, Youth, Sports, and Culture. She's here. She says, not surprising. Of course, Nima flew best. It's not surprising at all. They just do not care. The only time that they pretend they care is when they want something. When they know they want to score some cheap political points. As they are preparing to head to, where is it they're heading? Or they probably was out there. Rassville. Suddenly Rassville is of value to them. They picked up a lot of young men from Rassville, dumped them in the lockups, all manner of things. But now suddenly they want to head to Rassville for a meeting. A meeting. What are they going to go to Rassville to tell the people? You guys tell me. And I hope the folks at Rassville would chase them out. Chase them out of Rassville. Don't accept them. Don't listen to their lies in Rassville. We know they've gone to east, they've gone to west because they have their goons. What they do is they go into communities and they pay goons. And the goons are given guns. They get license and they don't get a license. And the goons, certain goons are allowed to hustle and all these things. That is what's happening. It's not no real governance that we're seeing. We're not seeing none of that. It's corruption, corruption upon corruption. That's what's happening. So Nima Flubes is saying here, the member of parliament with responsibility for youth, said, look, she's saying, not surprising. They're looking at the ethnic composition of the community so they would not move. And not only the ethnic composition that they look at, They look at what they can control, like what they attempt to do in Buxton. But the Buxtonians, majority of the Buxtonians already peeped their card and not falling for it. The people in Agricola have peeped their cards and not falling for it. And so there's no evidence that the PPP is going after and repairing community centers and sports centers and these sort of things. It just doesn't happen at all. And let's take a look at this community center again. The community center in Leeds Village. This is what it is. Now, here's where I have another issue with now. If this corrupt PPP regime can't do it, they obviously are not doing it as a result of, we can say, race, and because they just want to punish the people in that village. Now, I am not going to be in a village. I am not going to be a community leader or an elder in the village and allow this community center to be in this condition that it's in right now, compliments of a corrupt, racist regime. You know what I will do is get the men and the women in the community to go out with their cutlass, their forks, their hoe, whatever it is, and get this job done. Forget about the corrupt, racist PPP regime. Get the job done. Get your grass cutters and all these sort of things. The members of parliament for that area, Region 6, Dinesh Jai Prashad, the councillors, and all these folks should organize and get this community center, looked after. All of them should do that. Don't wait on the corrupt PPP regime to do it. It is not going to happen, guys. And I'm willing to, if there's going to be a start, I'm willing to throw in something to cook it. Because the guys got to eat, the people got to do something while they work. Help. Go out and get it done. And it is something that should be done. The members of parliament in that area, I'm calling on them to head out there at Leeds Community Center and do something. This is not how young people should be growing up. This is not how a village should look. This is not how a community center should look. And we should not, it is unacceptable, but we should not sit back and say, oh, the corrupt government isn't doing it. We know they don't care about you guys. But please, guys, in the village and other areas, and those councillors and members of parliament in the area, do something about it. And let us see. Let us see within, by the end of this month, let us see the same community center, what it looks like. Go out there, guys, and do something. I'm here to help. If we got to raise a little $2 or $3, and we ask persons to send to a responsible individual, let us do it. And when you give $1, don't go and sue that you give $1. Don't go and sue that you give $1 for a good cause. Get it going. Get it going. And the people who sent me this photograph, get it going too as well. Get it going. All right. Our guest is having problems coming on. I just got a message from that guest saying that they're seeing themselves in the studio, but they're not getting to come on. Okay, it's all right. We will definitely invite our guest back maybe tomorrow night, because we're not going to have Miss Annette Ferguson for the entire hour. She's just going to be on for at least a half hour, and then we have our guest on for the other half hour. So that's how we're going to do it tomorrow. So guess what's happening in Guyana, guys? And this is according to AGP TV News. Today, an interagency intelligence operation led to the arrest of 3 Chinese nationals, 2 males and 1 female. And look, money, oh my gosh, look at money. Look at money and gun. Look at the money and look at the gun. How much money in that? Look at that pile upon pile of money. And as you know, the the US have issues, the borders have issues recently with a lot of Chinese are coming through the borders, whether it's Mexico or wherever. And quite a few of those Chinese nationals are coming out of Guyana. And something isn't adding up, guys. Where the Chinese nationals, and I'm not putting and saying all of them, because I know some very good Chinese folks out in Guyana who are very hard. So, corrupt ones, just like the ethnic groups, they get corrupt people. And so lots of Chinese have been given passports, Guyanese passports, and then they are allowed to move on to other areas, and then they come through the border, Texas there, and I believe the U.S. law enforcement authorities, they have serious issues with that. So this particular arrest, if we were to depend on members of the Guyana, these PPP installed members of the Guyana police force, senior ones, if we were to depend on them to do this, it would never happen, guys. This would never happen. And so this bust is a big issue. It is something that is huge. It has been going on, and particularly under the PPP regime. Jack Deal and those vagabonds. This is exactly what's happening. So just going to say, it looks like it's an international arrest, cooperation with international law enforcement agencies with the Chinese. Good job. So what else is happening? The Minister of Governance, Gail Teixeira, was voted in as the vice chairman of the commission, which has retired Chancellor. He's also retired Chief Justice Karl Singh as its chairman of the constitutional, what is it? The Constitution Commission. That is what it is. Kwame McCoy is a member of that commission, and we have the other members there. The vice chair goes to, and the chair to Karl Singh, and then we see some familiar faces there. And guess what? Constitutional reform. Since I was a little boy in 1992. Yes, I was a little boy, mind you. In 1992, they were talking about constitutional reform. Every single time leading up to election, constitutional reform was deformed after that because nothing is done. And let me say this, I am not optimistic anything good will come out of this. With some of the members and whatever, it has not, but nothing good will come out of it. Once Gail Teixeira is there, Kwame is there, some others, nothing good will ever come out of this. It's a waste of taxpayers' money, it's a waste of time, and that is just my opinion. Not too many qualified people are on the commission. What is Kwame's qualification to be on that commission? Other than one CXC. One CXC, and it was a grade 4 or grade 3. Guess in what? Home economics. Economics. A grade 4 in home economics. Or if it's not home economics, he got a grade 4, which is surprising, in woodworks. A grade 4. So that's what's happening. And you guys expect anything good to come out of that with Gail Teixeira sitting there? Anything good to come out of that? You've got to be kidding me, guys. You really got to be kidding me. What else is on the good side? Is there anything on the good side? Let's go to Ropes and see what his ministry is doing. Ministry of Home Affairs heralds 34 new citizens. And it's big news. 34 new citizens. Let's count them. Oh Oh, I see one. I'm counting. And when you hear me say, oh, I see one, must not talking about, right? Citizens there. Oh, I see one. Let me see. I see another one. Nah, I just see one. How many y'all see? I see one. How many of you guys are seeing? I see one. Now, here is what the Ministry of Home Affairs is doing. They want it to appear as though there's transparency and that they're doing a good job and all manner of things. This is just propaganda. So what you're seeing there is nothing compare, absolutely nothing compare to the amount of other nationals who have been given free. Just here, take a citizen. You become a citizen. Take a citizen. Take it, take it, take it. So they just gather these people here just for photo op. It is just a photo op. That is all. Nothing else. They're not serious about it. Let me count again. Yeah, I see any there? Oh, I see one. I see one. I see one. But anyways, they are citizens. They're getting ready. They're getting ready to vote, prepared to vote in the next elections. And they're probably very happy about that. And we're hoping that this is a transparent process, and we congratulate them. They're now Guyanese, because a lot of you go to other countries and you become citizens, whether the UK, Canada, America, and so forth. So don't get vexed when you see other nationals go to Guyana and they become citizens as well. So, but it must be done the right way, the proper way. And I'm hoping that this was done the proper way. And with that, congratulations to these new Guyanese. If any of them watching, what's going on, guys? Y'all all right? We'll be right back.
Sit there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Sujurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of ours. There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Sujurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of ours.
He's a friend. He's a friend. Sue is their friend. And that's it. We can't run away from it. Let's say goodnight to these guys. Deputy Commissioner of Administration. He's now with Special Branch. That's Brutus. Brutus' name has been featuring. It's been trending. And then you have Deputy Commissioner of Operations. Ravindranath Balaram is now in charge of operations. And then you have this guy who's no stranger to you guys, no stranger to controversy, no stranger to making sure that protesters are not treated how they ought to be treated. Errol Watts is now in charge of operations. So this is what's happening in the Guyana Police Force. A shake-up, not a shake-up to shake out, but a shake-up for them to go up. Don't be surprised if Hicken, don't be surprised if Hicken decides that that's it. He's got to go. And once he goes, don't be surprised. Oh, yeah, well, bye. The sanctions list with Mohammed. if he goes, guys, look out, look out, look out for Budram. Look out for two names, Budram or Kareem Baksh. Look out for Budram or Kareem Baksh as the new commissioner of police. Take a look at what's going on. All right, so that's Watts. Name has been calling numerous human rights violations. Numerous human rights violations in terms of the treatment of protesters. And then there's Brutus and contracts, allegations of contracts and so forth. And that's what's happening, guys, in Guyana. And this is Budram. This is Rabindranath Budram, who we are told failed polygraph test that was issued by a particular embassy and law enforcement agencies outside of the U.S. He has allegations that he failed the polygraph test given to him on numerous questions asked on corruption, numerous questions of corruption. And so law enforcement agencies outside of Guyana, but mainly in the U.S., could possibly be keeping a very close eye on Rabindranath Budram and other senior ones in the Guyana police force, and allegations of connections between the acting commissioner of police and the Mohammeds. Connections, and probably we will be hearing about a lot of other things pretty soon. But two police officers are currently in the U.S., probably wrapped up their courses. One of them happens to be this guy, Narain, and the other one happens to be Sarabu, specifically chosen for courses in the United States of America. They just recently wrapped up the courses in the United States of America. Sarabu and Narain, specifically asked, we're told, by a particular law enforcement agency for them to go on a course. And they went on that course. All right, as we wind on tonight's program, I want to take you guys to Skeldon. Let's take a drive to Skeldon, Corriverton, as we call it back in the days, Topside. Probably still called Topside. Let's take a drive all the way there, and you will see that the treatment that people are getting from this corrupt PPPC regime is not just confined to one community or ethnic group. It's not. This corruption with the PPP and the neglect of the people is widespread. Not just in Leeds Village, not just in Buxton, not just in Linden, but the people are being neglected in Blackbush Polder, Mybe Curie, you name it, wherever, at Port Morant. The people are being neglected. Even the folks at Port Morant Market, Skeldon Market, you name it, New Amsterdam Market, people are punishing throughout the country. But I want to take you guys to a little village on the quarantine. Somewhere there, right there in Corriverton. Guess what? There are two villages, communities. One is called Little Africa. One is called Little India. Tomorrow I'm going to show you guys Little Africa. But tonight I want to show you guys Little India. And let me see if you recognize the community. And let me get your take as to how Guyanese are living in that community and what this corrupt PPP regime are doing to those folks. And now some of you might be self-righteous. Oh, they should this. Oh, they should that. But if people are paying taxes, then guess who got it? The government has its responsibility. But this is what the condition is like at Little India, Corriverton. This is Little India. You see, they did a little concrete, a 2-inch or 3-inch concrete road. But this is Little India. Look at Little India. Fridge gone in there. Panty, bukta, slip. This is what they call it, half slip. People don't wear that any longer. Sorry about that, guys. And then you get old stove, toilet paper, sheep guts, every single thing. And the people are not doing the job. These people, these vagabonds in the PPP, and those elected officials, they will go out there and they can say, you know what? Oh, they love the people in Corriverton. They love the people at Little India. Oh, I mean, love them. But look how they get the people living. Look how they get the people living. The trenches are not clean. And of course, some of you might say the city council. The city council is run by a pack of PPP packoos. One or two councillors are not PPP. And you guys know one of the councillors out there, Anil Sugrim, Councillor Anil Sugrim, who's now a big thing now. The man is part of the central executive of the People's National Congress, Anil Sugrim. But this is what is happening. An area that is controlled, a municipality that is controlled by the PPPC. Shame on the mayor, the PPP mayor of Corriverton. Shame on those councillors. Maybe we should invite Anil, the PNC councillor, Anil Sugrim, to talk to us about what is happening. I know he doesn't have much say because his voice is just a lone voice. The bulk of those people, including the mayor of Corriverton, is a PPP. And that's it. Look at what's there. Look at what's there. Hundreds of millions of dollars wasted. And that's how people have to live. Now, can't blame the residents. They're paying taxes, those who are working or those who are selling. But if you have a municipality and they can't clean the place up, it simply means they don't care. But look at this fridge gone in there. They look like Critic fridge. Empty, rusty, with nothing inside. That was when he was a empty mouth, empty belly. Hungry belly, but now look, he get little food. He's eating up taxpayers. Yep, Critic is eating up taxpayers. He's one of the biggest freeloaders they got. Biggest welfare recipient. No subject, at least Kwame get one subject, Critic can get none. Kwame's subject is in woodwork. Critic can get no subject. Was a hungry belly, a loopy, you know what? A looky fridge, dashy fridge in the trench. Look. That's what you got there. That's how the country's being run, by a bunch of vagabonds. Hey, guess what? I've had enough. I've got to go. 14 minutes after 10 o'clock. I know you guys are tired. So am I, to some extent. But let me say this before I go, though. Many of you from the BV area know this woman. A friend of mine. Always nice. Her husband was Halagala Farouk. Gloria Fraser passed away today. Our condolences to her family, her children, of course, her grandchildren, her in-laws, her son-in-law, her daughters-in-law, staff members of HGP Nightly News, Halagala television station, and of course, the community of Bedford-Wacting and outside of the village. Condolences on the passing of my friend, Gloria Fraser, a lovely personality, lovely woman, is no longer with us. Condolences. That's life. Here today, gone tomorrow. So you've got to enjoy your life, right? You got to do what's right as well. Don't sit down and talk name. I've got to go, though. I'll be back tomorrow. Same place, same time, right here on 107.1 FM. I love you all. Tata.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Sujurong?
Su? Oh, so my relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes.
So if I got children, I must suffer them. So if I got children, I must suffer them to take what I don't want to eat for myself. That is totally wrong.
What?
And the parents got to stand up.
Rhonda, really thank you for taking time out. I'm not going to let you go now. I know you're a very brave person. You're out there in front of GCOM. We're not seeing a lot of people out there, but give us an update on the protest every week in front of GCOM.
Tuesday we had 8 persons.
One second, Rhonda. I kind of like, honestly, I like that laugh. I'm going to rephrase, I'm going to ask the question again. And
Man, don't make me laugh, man. I tell you.
Rhonda, one second. One second, Rhonda. I'll ask you the question again. Rhonda, can you give us an update on the protest in front of GCOM?
Man, yes, 8 persons at the protest.
Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, police are come. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, policeman are come.
Sanko licky love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko licky love up on the dam and the gala holla murder.
Police are come and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Sanko kissy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko kissy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, police are come. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, policeman are come.
Sanko chase the love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko chase the love up on the dam and the gala holla murder.
Police are come and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala